Welcome to Whozer Adventures YouTube channel. My name's Jim, and glad to have you along today. It's a beautiful day outside. It's actually Sunday, and it's June 15th. Today I've got a glass of iced tea, and I gotta be honest with you. I had a fishing video. My buddy Floyd and I was down on Caggles Mill Lake. It was flooded. We did pretty good. Somehow or another, I forgot to turn on our DJI mic, so I had absolutely no voice at all on the video, which was sad. So, Floyd, if you're watching this, we got to go back and we got to reshoot that video, buddy. Because I totally messed up and didn't realize that our mics weren't working. So what we're going to do is every now and then, you know, I sit around and I come up with different crappie jigs and concepts that, you know, I feel benefit your average everyday crappie fisherman, especially those of you that tie. And you know, I've come up with one that I really like. So we're going to do two things today. The first one's going to be is we're going to tie it. I'm going to tie this jig, and then we're going to go out to the pond, and I'm going to show you really how this jig truly reacts in the water. And you'll kind of get the concept of what I'm talking about and stuff. But a lot of the colors that we're seeing working out there right now is where the inspiration for this come from. And then obviously there's some trigger points that, you know, I'll kind of cover as I build the jig that I think helps this jig really resemble the food that the crappie are looking for. So handful of things that you're going to need. We're going to be using some rubber legs on this one. We're going to be using some nymph on this one. We're going to use some hackle neck. And obviously I'm going to be using a 214D thread. So if you have those items and you kind of want to watch how I do this and then recreate it, you're more welcome to. So very first thing I'm going to start off with, because I want this jig to be pretty solid, because it's going to take a lot of hits. I'm going to start with some super glue. Now this is Loctite super gel. That's what I prefer to use, but any super glue, and we're just going to put that on the shank of our hook. That's going to help secure this thread, lock it in real nice and tight. Now I'm tying this on a 1/16 ounce jig head. Typically I prefer the 1/32 ounce, but so you folks can see it a lot more clear, I went to a little bit bigger head. And it'll make it easier to see it in the water out here in the pond. So, but the concept's still the same. Everything, nothing changes on it. So we're gonna wrap this back to the hook point bend, and then wrap it back forward. The next step is getting our legs ready. So I would suggest cutting these a little long to get started. And then you can always trim these up to your preference once it's on. Again, the super glue is gonna help us hold everything in place. Now, the wrapping on this, on the legs themselves, is fairly loose all the way down, because I want to align these legs proportionately here on the back of this hook shank, because they're swimming and you want to make sure that they're swimming evenly. So as you can see right here, I've got them pretty straight on that hook shank. Now I'm going to bring the thread back up forward. Now you'll notice that I'm leaving a small gap up here by the head, okay? I want to start forming a body, okay? We want to give the body some shape here just a little bit. If you've been with the channel very long, you know I like a jig that's got a lot of movement in it. That movement creates, you know, vibration and a visual effect in the water. I think it improves, and it's just a personal opinion, I think it improves your strikes. It gives the fish something to zero in on when they're coming up to make a strike. Now you could use a larger thread if you wanted to. Typically, like I said, I'm using a 1/32 ounce, so on a 1/16 ounce, definitely a bigger thread would help fill this in just a little bit faster, but that's okay right now. Okay, the next thing that I want to do is I want to give this jig that shape, and I'm going to use a piece of hackle neck to do that. Okay. And once I've got that piece on there, I'm going to trim this end piece off. So now it's giving it that shape, that form with this feather off of the back. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to get that body all nice and tight in there. So we're going to put about 4 whip finishes on here and secure that down really good. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with my hard as nail glue, and I'm going to secure that thread and get ready to secure the body on it. Now the body I'm going to be using is the Monkey Milk Nif color. I want to secure this body all the way back just to where the tail starts. Okay. Then I'm going to put a couple whip finishes in there. Again, guys, tie this thing in there like concrete, because this thing really takes a lot of abuse. Once I've done that, I'm going to wrap this monkey milk body into the jig. Now you want to pull this a little snug. Just be careful you don't break it. Pull it down snug. Put your wraps in there. Secure this in there. And then trim your nymph off. And now we're going to put a couple more whip finishes in there just to secure that body down real good. Okay, so the next part to all this is the hackle neck is now going to be our flare. It's going to kind of give it that bushiness here at the end. Okay, so we're going to take the end and we're going to leave the feather end out, and we're going to tie this in. Let's thread back here. We're going to tie this in right at the base of the head. This is one reason why I leave just a little bit of a gap here on the head. Now what you want to do is you want to tie this in and make that good and secure right there. Now what we have is this jig's going to swim just like this. So what the fish are going to see when they're looking up at it is this. Now we're going to take this out. We're going to put it on a rod, and I'll show you what this looks like in the water. The very last step that I like to do is secure everything completely in place so that this jig can take as many hits as it needs to catch as many crappie as possible. Is I like to take a little dab of the thick UV glue and just up here by the head, I'm going to let that kind of run down the head and soak into the last part of the thread, just to cement that in there real good. So we'll have to let this dry for just a little bit before we put it in the water. But this is an exciting jig. It has all three colors that right now in my area, the lakes we're fishing, has all three color variations that we're seeing the fish react to the most. A pink head, monkey milk body, blue and white tail with a shade of gray in it to help make those colors pop underwater. And this should be a terrific jig for you any time of the season. It really resembles something that, you know, these fish can see as food, and they'll attack it. That's the reason why we have to make sure that the jig is very well put together, because it will take some hits. So I'll be back here in a moment, and well, for you guys it'll be a moment. We're going to let this kind of dry for about an hour, and then we'll take it out, put it in the water, and show you what this jig looks like in the water. So stay tuned. I'll be back in just a second with you folks. Well, there you have it, guys. So I named this a dragonfly. When it's in the water, I mean, it really looks like a dragonfly. And when it comes out of the water and it's still really wet, it looks like a dragonfly. But tons and tons of action out of it, and really does a good job of presentation and stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, you know, please, if you're inclined, hit that subscription button. Definitely give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Helps the channel out a bunch, and obviously it's free. And hit that notification bell so you know when we're uploading videos, and we'll try to get you a fishing video back in here as quickly as possible. And as I learn, I'm going to try not to make that mistake ever again. I'm going to try to stick with making sure that the mics are turned on. So hopefully you enjoyed. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you, and please be kind.